And I had my escape kit, and I think that I found a compass in there or something, so I knew which way was west, and that's what I thought I ought to be going.
Okay.
Because at that time, we had, our troops had first crossed the bridge over the Rhine River. Remagen, I think they called it.
The Remagen Bridge? I call it Remagen Bridge.
And whatever that was, kind of westerly, and that's where I wanted to be headed. So
All right.
to do that, I had to cross this road, and I could see the road at some distance away from me. There wasn't hardly anybody on it, but I saw it looked like a couple of kids, like early teenagers, I would guess, with bicycles. And they're walking their bicycle because it was going up a slight hill. It's easier to walk than to bump the bicycle up. And there was a German soldier come down the other way, and they stopped and talked for a little bit, and I was hiding, I think it was like a downed tree, so it was a big, like a
big rotting log?
Yeah.
Big old log.
I was lying on the ground, and I was kind of underneath that, and so I was kind of watching them. And the kids looked down my way, and I could see them pointing at me. And and they talked a little bit, and then the German came off the road and came toward me, and he had his, like a rifle, so he wasn't carrying it on his shoulder anymore.
Okay.
It was more like ready to use.
Right. Did you no longer have your .45 pistol?
Yes, I had it on my shoulder holster, and that's the first thing I thought of. And before he got to me, I got that thing off and I buried it under leaves, under the slug.
Okay.
It's probably still there.
Couldn't take your chances, because if you try to shoot him, he might shoot you and you'd be dead.
They told us that it's a lot better not to have a gun on you. Airmen don't need guns unless they get down there. It's better not to have a gun on you, or that somebody might want to use it on you.
Did you also hear you were safer to be captured by the soldiers than the citizens? Did they warn you about that?
I don't think that they did. They probably should have, and I'm not sure that any of them sitting over there in Nedishall has thought about that too much.
Okay. Did you hear what happened? Okay, so I'm sorry. So the German soldier is marching. He's got his rifle ready.
Yeah, so he took me, and when I saw he got close, I stood up and put my hands up in the air, and he come and he brought me back up on the road, and then we walked down the road, kind of down the hill there.
He was a kid, wasn't he?
Well, it was,
Soldier is pretty young buck.
Well, yeah, he was too young to be in the military, but there he was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe like
I
a
mean,
15 or 6-year-old. The 15 and 16-year-olds were about all they had left by then.
Well, I think that we had a ball turret gunner that was
Yeah, you remember
maybe
that
a little bit underage.
Curly.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyhow, he took me down there to a house. I don't know what kind of a house it was, but that might have been where he was living. I don't know. And pretty soon another guy came in, and he had a car, like a Volkswagen. And the two of them put me in the Volkswagen and took me to what I think was like a city jail. And it was a compound with a wall all the way around it, like a city block might be, or half a city block.
Okay.
It had a door where you could get in, and they could shut the door and you couldn't get in or get out. And then over in the corner they had building in there that was like their offices, so, and jail. So they put me in the jail. And pretty soon they came and they took me out of the jail and stood me up in front of these guys, and they were at a long table, all soldiers. There was a guy that I could recognize as a senior. He was an officer
Okay.
in the middle, and then there was 2 or 3 guys on each side of him. So it was a long table. They asked me questions, and I said best I could, I don't speak German, you know. So I didn't know what the questions were. They did that several times, and then each time they'd put me back in my cell, and I'd sit there and until they came and got me again.
Okay.
After 3 or 4 of those, they had a civilian in there that could speak English. So when they asked me a question, well, he told me what the question was in English, and I'd tell him I couldn't answer the question because all I could give him was my name, rank, and serial number.
Okay.
They questioned my rank. They wanted to know if I was an officer or not. That was very important to know for them, apparently.
Right.
And I said, no, I wasn't. I was a sergeant, and they didn't know exactly how the sergeant fit in. I figured that this officer was assigned there as kind of a town marshal, whatever that might be militarily wise, you know, for
Okay.
military order in the city, you know. Because we weren't too far away from where the fighting was.
Right. Well, I would imagine Germany was kind of under martial law to begin with, especially maybe by that time.
Well, not like it was when I was landed there, because
Okay.
the army was falling apart,
Right.
and we didn't, I guess, for us in the Air Force there, we didn't really understand that, but
Well,
they
the
did.
army was they were all basically at the front lines. And then
Anybody that could
You had the
stand,
flag guys, they were the only ones that were in the back lines. And then the rest of the, like I say, they were bringing up all these, basically the Hitler youth were being called up to active duty service. And they were kind of backfilling all of the local stuff, kind of like as a ready reserve, so to speak,
you know,
kind of like in this incidents where this kid, he's in a full uniform, he's got a rifle, and his job was to kind of patrol and look around and see if there's like aviators that wandering around or
Yeah.
whatever.
yeah, well.
And then, so that makes sense what was kind of going on, and then maybe that,
Well, I didn't understand all that.
yeah,
How I fit in, I didn't like it too
Okay.
much,
Yeah,
but
it's
there I
not-
was.
right.
And
They're not moving you to a POW camp like they should.
there was a guy on the end of this big long table that was in a different uniform from the rest of them. He was
Okay.
not a regular army guy, and I decided later on that he was probably an SS
Okay.
trooper of some
Do you have a
kind.
black uniform? Does that sound familiar?
No, it was kind of a suntan, but he had a thing on his arm like a SS
Oh, okay.
sign. And after one of these interrogations, and I was still standing there, he got up and he signaled, "Heil Hitler!" And he pounded on the table, and he went out and left the room, and he slammed the door when he went out. He was not in charge, you understand?
Right,
He
yes,
was
sir.
not the ranking officer.
Yes, sir.
The English-speaking person turned to me and he says, "Congratulations," he says, "you're now a prisoner of war." And I said to him, because he could speak English, I said, "Well, I thought I already was." And he says, "No, you weren't."
Yeah. They were still checking to see if
Well,
you
he was telling me that what they were arguing about
Okay.
among themselves is whether I was going to become a prisoner of war or whether they're gonna take me down in the courtyard and shoot me, so that's what they were trying to decide.
Okay,
And the officer in charge decided that I should become a prisoner of war.
okay.
And the SS trooper didn't like that. So what he was gonna do about it, I don't know, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it could be.
That's what was
Remember,
going
like
on.
how you said you know that the wise saying was to bury the pistol, because my understanding is what was going on is that as a POW, if they could try you for murder because you killed somebody, you know, like to evade from being captured, and you killed especially if you killed a civilian, that's murder. If you killed an army soldier, that's questionable, you know, you have a right to, again, but if you killed a civilian, that's murder, and they could summarily take you out and shoot you for that.
They told us that you can take it, you're not required to take the gun with you.
Right.
That's your choice.
Right.
But they said don't get caught with a gun because somebody's gonna wanna use it on you.
Right.
And it didn't make any difference what you did. If you had a gun, well, they were gonna do that,
Right.
so that's why I got rid of the gun.
Okay.
He said the SS officer thought he was a spy because you were by yourself and you had your cover all
Well,
on.
I think that's what his concern was, that I didn't look like a soldier of any kind that he'd
Okay.
ever seen. You know, I didn't have on a olive drab jacket, you know, with some stripes on the
Okay,
side.
right.
I had on a jacket that was all full of oil spots and tears from trying to run through the bomb bay
Okay.
up there at 30,000 feet.
And you're on your aviator overalls, right?
Well, my heavy outdoor jacket, you know.
Yeah. The heavy jacket, the bomber jacket.
So I should tell you that going back to the time when we had the crash landing in France,
Yes, sir.
we spent several days there, and my crew and I got into a pub a few times, and I remember talking with this one soldier. He told me he was from Buffalo, New York. We talked for 20 minutes or so, and finally he asked me, he says, what are you? Are you a soldier? Are you like an American soldier? I said, sure. He said, well, you don't look like one. You don't dress like one. What are you dressed like? You're not dressed like an American soldier. And I told him that I was on an air crew. Oh, well. He
That's
said
what
he
you
didn't
look
know anybody on an air crew, and he didn't know how the air crew dressed. He was a land soldier, and they walked, you know. So
Okay.
anyhow, I thought that was very interesting, but I thought about that because at that time, by that time I'd been wearing I think it was a black beret that I bought in France,
Oh, okay.
because we'd been there a couple of days, and I had a jacket that was army colored, I guess, but it didn't have any insignia of any kind.
Okay. Yeah, you stripped down pretty good. So that SS guy pretty much figured you qualified as a spy.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
what I found out was that Hitler had told everybody that American airmen, when they get shot down, you should kill them. And the reason is that they've been bombing German cities and just indiscriminately and
Right.
killing all the civilians there, which we were,
Right.
and they were behaving like Chicago outlaws.
Okay. Yeah, so that makes sense. That
And so
was just-
that they ought to be shot instead of made prisoners of war.
Okay.
Well, my pilot, when he got down, the civilians beat him up with pitchforks and shovels and beat him to death.
Yeah.
That's what I understood. I don't know whether he was injured, like a bad leg or something, whether he could run or